Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Look here, this is part 3 of my interview with a sex offender, convicted sex offender. The last episode, we stopped it at the end when we were talking about there was 10 days before he was arrested.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And we're going to jump right into that. But let me say something about the last episode I want everybody to understand. If you didn't pick up on the things that we were saying, the questions that I was asking him, and the way that you can use that information that's being put out there to help recognize or prevent this from happening in your household, I would encourage you to go back and listen to the episode. I was asking those questions specifically because I want people to be aware of, like when I asked him, was she afraid? Did his wife recognize? Did anybody recognize? It's obvious that a 7-year-old would be afraid. It's obvious that a change in her behavior would take place. But nobody was paying any attention to that. Not to blame anybody. That's not what this is about. But what I would say, if you drop your child off at a friend's house, a relative's house, anybody's house, talk to them when you go home. Ask them, was everything okay? Did anything take place? And let them know that it's okay to tell you whatever. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's clear to me that a 7-year-old would not have been able to process that. Y'all know that. So ask those questions. That's why when I asked him, did he notice it? And he didn't. He was glossed over. He couldn't even see it because he was too consumed. You understand, right?
Right.
You were too consumed with yourself to be able to see that. You understand what I'm saying?
In the place where I was at, exactly.
Where you were at, you were in a dark place.
Yes.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's no way that his heart was more concerned about her than himself. You understand?
Right.
So do that, y'all. Do that. This is not just about laying out the facts of something that happened. Again, this is not one of those true crime sites where you get the story but you don't get any help. You're not going to get the kind of stories that you get on Doing Time with Joe. You know what I'm saying? Anywhere else. I get into the mindset of the individuals, the ideology, the belief system, what led them down that path, the things that happened in their lives that, you know, would lead to these decisions. In my life as well. Y'all already know my story. So pay attention to what it is I'm asking and what it is that he's saying or what it is that he may not be saying. You understand? Because this is what's going to help you in the long run. But look here, let's jump right into this episode. You know what I'm saying? And I want to make sure that you know, everybody understands, you know, that this is what it is out there. So tell me,
Okay.
what was it like those 10 days?
The last 10 days before the detective called the stress and the guilt just about did me in. I mean, I wasn't sleeping, but about 2 or 3 hours a night. I barely ate anything, and it just consumed me. That's all I could say. And I had, you know, some interactions with a little bit of family members and stuff like that, and I was just. I would like to go back and ask to see if they could tell what I was going through, because I just don't see how.
Because it's obvious that if they thought about it, they could see you stressed out.
Yeah.
Something ain't right. You know how people will see somebody like something's wrong with him or something's wrong with her. Mm-hmm. You know, hindsight is 20/20.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So those 10 days, they probably noticed something was off.
Yeah, well, I would think so.
How were you sleeping?
That's what I'm saying. I wasn't sleeping but 2 or 3 hours a night at the
and
most.
Your wife didn't even notice that this was different.
No.
Not to blame her, but at this time, y'all were sort of estranged anyway.
Right.
So she's not really focused on you.
No.
Did you feel alone?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did you feel like the walls were closing in?
Yes.
Because you knew it was coming.
Yes.
You knew it was coming.
Yes. And I want to say too, I'm glad it came, because I would not have wanted to live. I would not want to live my life with that kind of a guilt hanging over me the rest of my life.
And that's important that you said that, because a lot of people have done things out there and they think that they've gotten away with it.
Yes.
But you never really get away.
No. The
Never
guilt
really get
and knowing what you did. No.
You never get away.
No.
And that pressure just weighs down.
Right.
So tell my listeners, what was it like when because you said you didn't get arrested. They called you first.
Right. Well, what happened was I got a call from the detective, and of course, as soon as I picked up the phone and he said he was a detective with the police department, I guess it was. I knew the jig was up. Basically, I mean, I knew that was it. And he said that he wanted me to come talk to him.
Did he tell you what it was about?
No, but I knew what it was about.
Yeah. I'm just
But
looking at
no,
police
he didn't.
stuff
He
like
didn't say anything. He said I just need to come down and talk to him. And so,
Did you have any experience with the police at that time?
not before that. No, not really.
You've never been arrested, so they never,
Well, no, I had a little minor public drunkenness, and then I had a DUI.
yeah, you wasn't a
No.
public enemy number
No,
one.
no,
That's what I'm saying.
No.
So you didn't fit that description of this person had a history of this. Let's go get him.
right.
They called you
Mm-hmm.
and told you to come on down. They needed to ask you some things.
Right.
They didn't tell you what it was, but you knew what it was.
Yes, I do. Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead.
And of course, when I got off the phone, I was just, even more stressed because I didn't really know how I was going to handle this situation. And somehow, I don't know how I did it, but I reached down inside and I found a strength that I never knew I had or never had tried to use before, and decided that the only way that I was going to be able to get through this was to go in and tell the truth. It was to lay all the cards on the table and let them fall where they may.
Right. So what was that like when you got in that room with that detective?
Well, at first, the first few minutes, of course, I was trying, and I wasn't going to do that. But then I couldn't take it, and I just broke like a wall.
Yeah, so you decided to go down there to tell the truth, but once you got down there,
It was much harder than what I
expected.
expected.
Then when they put you in that room with that light.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
shut that door, right?
Right.
So truth went out the door for a minute.
For just
And
a couple of minutes,
you
and
wanted
but then
to go home after
Right.
that. You didn't feel okay. So after that, you broke down.
yes.
What did he say that made you break down, or did he say anything, or was it just?
Well, they just started asking questions because they had a general idea of what I had done.
What was that first question like? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't remember. I probably tried to. I mean, other than the emotions that are with that I'll never forget. I don't. Yeah. I just remember being in there and just, at first the first few minutes, like I said, I tried to put up a front to it, and then I just couldn't do it, and it just let everything spill out.
And you told him everything.
Yeah.
And what was it like after that? Did he tell you when he told you to? Typically they tell you to stand up.
Well, see, they didn't even do that. They let me go back home to get things in order, and then the next day they came and arrested me. But after telling them what I told them, though, I felt a lot of relief.
Did you go home and tell your wife?
No,
You did not?
No, I did not. I was like a deer in the headlights. I didn't know what to do.
So you
I
went
was so
back
scared.
home knowing that you were did they tell you that they were going to be arresting you later?
Yeah. Yes.
So you knew you were getting ready to leave,
Yes.
and you didn't tell her.
No, her or my
Did
son.
she know you even went to the police department?
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she had no idea.
No, completely
Did you go back
blindsided.
to the police department, or did they come and arrest you?
They came and arrested me. the
At your
next morning.
house?
Yes.
So what did you say to her when they pulled up?
She wasn't there. She was at work.
Was it arranged, or it was just coincidental that she was at work?
I don't think it was arranged. I don't remember that. I don't remember anything like that, but I don't think it was
So
arranged.
what
It's
was
just
that-
that's when they showed up that next
Okay,
morning.
when they arrested you, tell me what they said.
Oh, well, I knew what they were there for, and I like I said, I don't really remember that much of what they said. I just remember I had my brown leather coat on, and they told me to put my hands behind my back and put the handcuffs on,
Right.
and led me out.
Nobody was at the house?
No,
So they led you out. Were any neighbors around? Did anybody see you?
no,
getting
not
in the
that I
car?
was aware of. No.
So they drove you away.
Mm-hmm.
Booked you in. Now, once you were in there, what was that first phone call like?
I don't remember making the first phone call.
You don't remember calling and telling your wife?
No, I don't remember.
What was life like for you that first? Were you in general pop or were you isolated
I guess I was isolated because they put me in a cell I was just by myself.
by yourself?
Right.
How long did you stay like that?
I think it was just a few hours. But what was so strange about it was that I actually felt relief because I felt like because of what I had done, that's where I deserved to be, and I had been a menace to society, and I didn't want to. I didn't think I would hurt anybody
Let me
else.
explore
But
that a little bit. So you felt that then.
yes,
You felt that you deserved to be locked up.
yes,
That's interesting because most people that doesn't dawn on them for years. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They come in, even if when they know that they're guilty, they come in and they numb themselves to the reality of that.
right.
They won't say it out loud. They won't even come to the realization that, you know, I deserve to be separated from society.
Mm-hmm. No, but I felt
you did.
I'd right off the rip.
Right off the rip. And when did you tell your wife? Did she come? Did you go to trial?
Yeah. I mean, they came to visit. It wasn't probably but a few days afterward, I would have guessed. But a lot of that,
Did you tell her you were innocent? Did you tell her you were guilty? I mean.
No, I told her. No, I had to tell her I was guilty since I told the police I was guilty.
Right.
And that's one of the main reasons why she said she stuck with me is because I told the truth.
You told the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you stayed at the jail, I'm sure, until they send you off to prison or whatever the case may be. Did you have any problems
No.
in jail or in prison?
No.
Okay. And you said that you felt like you deserved to be in
Right.
prison because of what you've done. You accepted full responsibility for what you've done. Okay, let me ask you this. What would you say to someone that was going through what you went through, that first time you became aroused at looking at...
That I would say exactly what you're saying is you need to talk to somebody. You need to go tell somebody or talk to somebody, and before it gets before you get too far down the road on it.
Yeah, because I remember when you were saying that you felt aroused, but did you feel ashamed?
Yes, I didn't at first, but then after it started, I did. I did feel ashamed.
After you started
yes.
Assaulting her,
yes.
You started to feel ashamed.
Yes.
But when you felt the arousal, you didn't feel ashamed.
No, I did not.
But you knew that was
But
wrong.
I knew it was wrong, yes.
You knew it was wrong,
yes.
yeah. Describe, if you can, I want you to role play for me real quick. If you can. If you can, it's okay.
Okay.
Tell me, what would you say if you had the opportunity to go talk to a therapist right now? Flashing back to that first time you were aroused, what would you say to that therapist? What would you say to that person that you were seeking help from? What would you say to them?
I would say that I'm aroused to a child that I shouldn't be, to a 7-year-old, in a sexual
Straight
way.
to it.
Yeah.
Straight to it. Yeah.
Now I say that now with 20/20 hindsight. Now back then it'd be probably I don't know what I would hope I would say that, but with the guilt that I was feeling, I would think I would say that.
You think that you would?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you, even though I know that you can't have any contact with your victims, and that's not just for sex offenders, that's for everybody in Tennessee. That's
Right.
the law.
Right.
But if you could have contact with your victims, what would you say?
I would apologize and tell how sorry I am, and that in no way, shape, or form was it her fault. It was all my fault.
Right. What would you say to her mother?
Same
That
thing.
trusted you?
Same thing.
Have you ever apologized to your wife and your son?
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes.
You
yes.
have?
Yes.
You did that. What was that like?
Several times, but you can never make up for what I've done.
Oh, absolutely not. But what was that like for you?
It was hard. It was hard, but I mean, I knew it had to be done. So I mean, I really am comfortable with it because it's the outcrop of my actions.
Right. So what does life look like for you now? What do you expect out of life? Do you still have those issues? Because you know how people are saying,
right?
Once an addict, always an addict.
Right.
You got to always be on guard, and so on and so forth. Right.
Right.
So through that prism, through that lens, what is life like for you now?
I mean, it's actually pretty good because I know I've learned like what a lot of the trouble that I can get into, like so far as uh, when when I have free time, I have to be disciplined in what I do and not
Right.
doing negative things like
Right.
internet porn and that kind of thing, and do
Right.
positive things.
Right.
Then of course stay away, period, from internet porn,
Right.
and stay away from anything else having to do really with any
Right.
kind of porn
Do you
or
ever
anything
have
like
those
that.
thoughts? And if you do, what do you do? What is your
I,
because you've been through
I,
classes.
right, and then you still it'll come back, every now and then and stuff. But I try to be disciplined and
Right.
switch gears
Switch
or
gears.
switch channels or whatever you want to
Right.
call it.
Right. And they've taught you effective
Yes,
techniques
yes,
to do
I sure
that,
have.
right?
Uh-huh.
Right. And do you believe in those techniques?
Yes, I do.
You do.
Yeah, I do.
I think that's partly why you were able to even sit down with me, because I do, and I don't know what you think about that.
Oh, I didn't know, because I've done a lot since I've been in prison. I've done a lot of work on myself. There was some self-help books that I've read. There was a mental health counselor that I was with for 6 months. There was one program in particular that I was turned on to by a person that I was pen paling with that was in prison in California.
Right.
And this was a program, a book that they used in the actual program out there, and that I was told about, and I ordered it. I got my wife to order it for me, and I did the whole thing, and that helped a lot. For almost 6 months or so, weekly, I was writing probably 10 to 12 pages of stuff, of the questions that this thing was asking me. That helped me a lot.
Right. Let me ask you this then, because a lot of people say when it comes to sex offenders, it's not if but when.
Right.
What do you think about that statement? As far as reoffending, what do you think about that?
I think that's valid. Like I say now, what has helped me a lot too is that finding that inner strength that I didn't know that I had, or that I had never tapped into before, and I have that now. I really feel that now I'm really close to being the best, the person maybe that I should have been all along. I just hate that it took something so destructive
Yeah.
to bring this about.
Right. I get you, man. I feel you there too. I feel you, man. But at the end of the day, I think that if you put in the work, that you'll be okay. If you
Yeah.
apply what you learn.
Right.
You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? That's the problem I think most people have, regardless of the crime.
Mm-hmm.
Applying what you learn in situations like this, the things that help you, not the things that keep you on that path to darkness. Is there anything else that you would like to share with my listeners? Let me ask you this. Okay, let me ask you this. What would you say to family members out there? What they should be paying attention to maybe recognize if somebody is in their family doing what you would do?
I think it's like what you had said before when you were talking and starting the program about communication. Communication is the key, and being aware,
So what
watching.
should they look for? What should they look for if they have a family
Well,
member?
I would say change in behavior, like what you said, a change in behavior in the victim.
Because everybody that looks at porn doesn't think about messing with kids, right?
Right. Oh, you're talking about okay.
Yeah,
I was
what
talking.
should they
I was
do?
talking about the victim.
No, I'm talking about you. We can get to the victim. Right now, I want you to answer the question of how could I
right.
recognize if I had a family member that was headed in the wrong direction and maybe potentially becoming a sex offender? What should I be looking for to recognize that?
That's a good one. The change if there's any kind of a change in behavior. I mean, if they're like wanting to be more secluded with somebody, as in another female or male or whoever, just in the behavior. Yeah, that's what I would think.
Yeah. Okay.
Because that's really something I haven't really sat and thought about. So.
Okay. Well, think about that.
Yeah.
And now I can come back and do an update on it, because that's the thing for me. A lot of times, because you said that the first time that you got aroused, you didn't feel any shame, and then after you went so long, you started to feel shame, but you were oblivious to everything. It was like you were checked out.
Right. Exactly.
Totally checked into that and checked out of everything else. So, as a family member, I would want to know what is it that I need to be paying attention to. You see what I'm saying?
And that I think now that I think more about it, it's tough because I was like basically Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I was two different people.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like during the day, I was looking at internet porn and being aroused by this child, but then when in the evenings when Marilyn would come home and Jackson would be back, it'd be back to being Mr. Family Man.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be very hard to tell. I don't know exactly what to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't know exactly what to say. Because I would think that if somebody, did you spend a lot of time on porn?
Quite a bit, yes.
And I would say just because a person watches porn doesn't mean they'll end up being a sex offender.
Right.
But
But it means they need help.
That's something that a family member should pay attention to.
Yes, yes.
If you're, like you said, trying to isolate yourself with a child
Yes.
or an adult, whatever you prefer, and pay attention to the change in behavior of the potential victim, right?
Of both, yeah.
Yeah, pay
I'll say
attention to
both.
that, and that might give you some indication
Right.
of what the adult might be doing, or
Right.
what the perpetrator might be doing. Well, okay then. I mean, I appreciate that, but I do want you to give that some thought. You know what I'm saying? Tell me what, because I would like to update my listeners on what it is that they could be paying attention to help their family member. You feel what I'm saying? And the victim, the changing behavior of the victim.
Right.
Let me see, what do I got over here? I'm looking at my notes, y'all. I'm trying to see if I got anything else. I don't have anything else, man. Unless you have something to say.
No, I don't. I think I've pretty much put it out there.
Yeah, you put it out there. And I appreciate you doing that.
Yes.
I want
Yeah.
again, man. Thank you for doing this. I think it takes a lot of courage.
I think it does too, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do it is because I know that most sex offenders want to just kind of run away and hide. But at the end of the day, once if I straighten myself out and am able to become as close to a more normal human being as possible, then I should be able to have a life that's as
Yeah,
normal
but
as
see, it's not, and I agree with you on that. Most sex offenders do that, but man, I'm gonna tell you something. People that commit crime,
right.
right? People that commit crime or people that are sinning, okay, they all like to hide in the dark.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's across the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where crime, that's where sin is allowed to flourish, in the dark.
Yes. Oh, yes.
You feel what
I
I'm
agree.
saying? We
I
don't
agree
wanna
100% with that now.
We don't want to
Yeah.
confront that.
Right.
And we do have this tendency to carve out, sex offenders and say they do this and they do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at it from an objective point of view,
Right.
if you're involved in the criminal lifestyle,
Right.
you're in a dark place and you're doing dark things too.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? It may not be that to that degree, and society is, I get it, rightfully so, outraged by that.
Right.
You feel me? But that outrage should be, in my opinion, equal when it comes to murderers, rapists, robbers,
Right.
drug dealers, all the way across the board, because we're causing pain and destruction to people when we live like that.
Exactly.
When we think
exactly.
like that.
Yeah, the
You
criminal
understand what I'm saying?
criminal thinking.
That
Mhm.
mindset
Criminal behavior.
is what's wrong.
Right. Exactly.
That mindset is what's wrong. That deviant behavior, it takes you down that road. And you'll justify it all you want to and say, well, I did this, but I didn't do that. I don't want to rap.
Right.
You ain't got no business doing none of it. You understand?
Mm-hmm. Oh, exactly.
So
I
I
know
really
now.
appreciate you. Yeah, we both know, don't we?
I know. I
You
know
better
now.
know. If you didn't know, now you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the thing, man. I want to tell you how much I appreciate you doing this. I want my listeners out there really pay attention to this. And I'm interested to see what the comment section is going to be like. If you got anything that you want to say to Eddie, hit me up in the comment sections, and when I call home, they'll tell me, and I'll let him know what you said and
I
whatnot.
appreciate that.
I really appreciate y'all listening. Share this episode with your family and friends. It's important. This is important stuff. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.
Thank you. That was tough.